Good morning, everyone. Let me continue with our discussion. So, in the last class, we discussed about convergence of an infinite series, and we saw that space is complete. That is equivalent to saying that every convergence is absolutely convergent. Today, let me first define what is known as Schroeder basis. Let X be any non-linear space a Schroeder basis of X is a countable subset it's called EI INN of X such that every element X in X can be represented in the form X is equal to summation lambda I xi where these lambda I are scalar and this representation is unique. Right, so it is somewhat similar to basis that we study in vector space. So for a vector space, we say if every vector can be represented in a finite linear combination of the vectors from the basis, and the representation has to be unique. Here, instead of finite linear combination, we are allowing this infinite linear combination. And note that the meaning of this is that the if you take the sequence of partial sum of this infinite series, then that converges to X. So note that X equal to summation lambda I xi.
Lambda EI, right?
Sorry.
So
Oh, I wrote
summation.
right. Yeah, so that is EI. Thank you. So X is summation lambda I EI. This means norm of x minus summation lambda I ei I equal to 1 to n yeah. So is this clear, the definition?
So here we are taking countable set, so that means some vector space may not have a storeable basis. Hello?
Hello. Can you repeat your question?
So here we are taking a countable subset, so that means we are not allowed to take uncountable subset. So that means some vector space, some non-linear space may not have a Schroeder basis, right?
Yes, that is correct. See, if I did not say countable subset, if I said anything, then any Hamel basis will be a Schroeder basis, right? So because you know that you can take every vector space has a Hamel basis. So you can always write any element as a linear combination of some vectors from that Hamel basis, and this representation is unique. So in particular, uh, you get that every this Hamel basis will actually be Schroeder basis. So there will be no difference, right? So that is why when we say Schroeder basis, it is always a countable set. Whereas when we say Hamel basis, it may be countable or uncountable, right? So you're right that not every non-linear space will have a Schroeder basis. So first, can you think of example? So let me see example.
Infinity.
Yes, can you say?
Maybe L infinity, I guess.
Okay, so let's look at x is equal to LP space, the sequence space LP, and let's take P to be greater than equal to 1 and less than infinity. So we are taking this sequence. Of course, if you take any finite dimensional nonlinear space, so any finite dimensional vector space has a finite Hamel basis, so that will work as a Schroeder basis also, right? So, I mean, this is important only in the case of infinite dimensional. So, if I take x equal to LP space and P I am restricting to be less than infinity, bigger than equal to 1 but less than infinity, and let's look at uh, S is equal to EI, I belonging to N, where EI is the standard vector where the ith component is 1 and all the other components are 0. So the claim is that this S is a Schroeder basis of LP. Or let me again write this. This is important that if P is less than infinity, then this is a Schroeder basis. So why is this true? So for this you have to show that every element in LP can be written as infinite linear combination of these EIs. So this is because if x is equal to x1, x2 dot 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 belonging to LP, then I claim that x is equal to summation of xi ei I equal to 1 to infinity. Right? Why is this true? So to show this, this is because to show this, we have to show that x minus summation xi ei I equal to 1 to n. This norm, so norm is the norm in LP. This should go to 0 as n goes to infinity. But what is x minus summation xi ei? This is equal to the sequence whose first n terms are 0 and then n plus first term will be xn plus 1, xn plus 2 and so on. Sorry, my connection dropped. So this is equal to this, and by the definition of the P norm, by definition of LP, this goes to 0 as n goes to infinity, as x belongs to LP. Is this clear? So this E1, E2, E3 and so on, this forms a order basis for LP. I am saying that this is true for P greater than equal to 1 and but less than infinity. What happens for P equal to infinity? So is this same thing true if I take P equal to infinity? Yeah, here one more thing you should show is that this representation is unique. So also the representation is unique. So for that you have to show that suppose summation x can be written as summation xi ei and also as summation say yi ei, then xi must be equal to yi. So that is equivalent to saying that xi minus yi is 0. So if summation xi ei, this is equal to 0, then we have to show that xi is equal to 0 for all I. Right? If we show this, then we get uniqueness. So suppose summation xi ei is equal to 0, then how do we get xi is equal to 0? Maybe you can try to prove this. This is not very difficult. Then now I am asking about for L infinity. So suppose x is equal to x1, x2, so on, belongs to L infinity. Is it true that x is equal to summation xi ei?
No, sir. If we take xi is equal to 1 in each component, then it won't be.
Sorry, again the connection was lost. So if x is the constant sequence 1, then if you look at x minus summation of ei, I equal to 1 to n, what is the infinity norm of this? What is this? This is the sequence where the first n terms will be 0, and then you have all the other terms are 1. But the L infinity norm of this is equal to 1. So therefore, this is x is not equal to summation ei. In fact, L infinity does not have any Schroeder basis. So this is an example of a nonlinear space, a Banach space which has no Schroeder basis. So let me give this exercise. So if x has a Schroeder basis, then so that x must be separable. Do you know what is a separable space? Recall a metric space, or you can talk in general topological space also. So a metric space is separable if it has a countable dense subset. Right. For example, if you look at R, the set of real numbers with the usual metric, then it has a countable dense subset, namely Q. So R is separable. So we are saying that if we have a Schroeder basis, then the norm linear space must be separable. So for this, you have to find a countable dense subset for that, right? So or recall that Schroeder basis means that you have this countable set, E1, E2, and so on. And then from this, how do you get a countable dense subset? Okay, can anyone tell what is the idea?
Like we can take this case itself.
Sorry?
We can take this Schroeder basis itself. We work as the.
You're saying you will take this EI itself. That will not give you a dense subset, right? So what you have to do is from this you have to construct a countable dense subset, right? So what you do is you look at finite linear combination of these EIs where the scalars are coming from, say, a rational number, right? So if the field is of real number, then you look at summation lambda I EI I equal to 1 to some n, right? Finite linear combination where lambda I belongs to Q. If it is the field of complex number, then you can take lambda I belonging to Q cross Q, right? So basically you take a countable dense subset of the field, and then you take finite linear combination where the scalars are coming from that countable dense subset of the scalars field. So then, first of all, that will give you a countable set, right? Because for every n, you are taking the only union of, you are taking summation of lambda I ei, I equal to 1 to n, and lambda I are from this rational number. So you get only a countable number of points, and then you take the union over all n. So countable union of countable set is countable. So you will get a countable set. And then you have to see that it is dense. So that again, by using that order basis, you know that any x can be written as this infinite linear combination where these lambda i's are from scalar. Now, if these lambda i's are real numbers, then you know that you can find the rational number which are arbitrarily close to this real number, and using that you will be able to get that x will be limit of uh, vectors in that countable set that we constructed. So I'm leaving the details, you can write, but I have explained how it can be done. So if it has a order basis, then this must be separable. So therefore, if there is any space which is not separable, then it cannot have a order basis. So hence, if x is not separable, then it cannot have a order basis. I mean, you might think whether the converse is true, that if we have a non-linear space which is separable, then is it true that it will have a shorter basis? So that is not true. So an example was given by Enflo. So he gave an example of a separable Banach space which does not have a shorter basis. But that is not an easy example. So we will not see that, but this is an easy thing, that if it has order basis, then it has to be separable, and using this you can show some example which does not have order basis. So let's look at this problem. So, maybe let me write this as proposition. This L infinity is not separable. So how do we say so that this is space L infinity does not have a countable dense subset? So let's look at a subset of this. So let A be the subset of L infinity consisting of all sequences of 0 and 1. Right? So that is A is equal to x1, x2, and so on, such that xi is either 0 or 1 for all I. So clearly, all these vectors are in L infinity because the supremum of mod xi is less than equal to 1. So we get that this A is a subset of L infinity. What can you say about cardinality of this set A? Is it countable or uncountable?
Uncountable.
Uncountable, right? So This you must have seen. So note that A is an uncountable set. And what is the distance between any two distinct points in this A? Also, if xy belongs to A and x is not equal to y, then what is norm of x minus y?
One.
It is equal to 1, right?
One.
Because this means that at some point, at some stage, xi is not equal to yi, then that will mean that one of them is 0 and another is 1, right? Both cannot be 0 and both cannot be 1 at all stage. So we have that xi not equal to yi means that mod xi minus yi is equal to 1, and of course the difference cannot be bigger than 1. So we have this norm of so this is the distance between x and y in the infinity norm. So norm x minus y is equal to 1. So therefore if we look at this ball of radius half, so it's called dx half x belonging to A. So this is a collection of uncountably many disjoint open balls right, because the distance between any 2 points is 1, so therefore dx half and dy half for the intersection will be empty. So there cannot be anything which lies in both of these. So and this collection is uncountable, and this will imply that it cannot have so this implies that L infinity cannot have a countable dense subset. Right, because otherwise uh, if there is a countable dense subset, then there exists a point from that. So, because if let's call B is a countable dense subset, then for then every open ball dx half x belonging to A must contain a point from B. Right? If this is a dense subset, then given any open set, it must have a point from this. But we showed that this is a collection of uncountably many disjoint open balls. So, this cannot happen because otherwise this B will be uncountable. This implies B is uncountable. So this L infinity is not separable, and hence, since L infinity is not separable, L infinity has no Schroeder basis. Is this clear? Okay, let me just say one more thing. So
Sir,
yes,
sir, in the previous proof, when we constructed A, then we can say that A is a discrete metric space which is uncountable, so it won't be separable, and therefore L infinity cannot be separable.
yeah, you can do like that also. Right. Yeah, so A because this is as a subspace of L infinity, it becomes a discrete metric space, and it is uncountable. So therefore, it cannot be. Okay. Yes. So suppose X is a Banach space. So if summation xn is absolutely convergent, and it converges to X. Then any rearrangement also converges to X. That means if we have any permutation, say N1, N2, and so on is a permutation of natural numbers, then summation X Ni I equal to 1 to infinity also converges to X. So for an absolutely convergent series, it doesn't matter whether you change the order of this sum, it will always converge to the same thing. So now for a series of real numbers, what we know is that let me write, so recall. For a series of real numbers, if every rearrangement of the series converges to the same limit, then the series must be absolutely convergent. So, this is because of famous that Riemann rearrangement theorem. So that says that if we have a series which is conditionally convergent, suppose you have a series which converges, but it is not absolutely convergent, then you can rearrange the series in a way such that it actually converges to any real number. So that is a very like famous result. So for example, if you look at the series, the summation -1 to the n by n, right? So that series we know converges, but it is not absolutely convergent because summation 1 by n diverges. So it is possible to like rearrange the terms in a way such that the series will converge to whatever number you want. So No, maybe I'll just write C. Riemann rearrangement theorem. So is this same thing true for Banach space? In Banach space, we know that if it is absolutely convergent, then any rearrangement will converge to the same thing. But if every rearrangement of the series converges to the same limit, then does that imply that the series is absolutely convergent? This is question. Is the same true? For any Banach space? So let's look at this sequence space L2. So if we take x equal to L2, then any x in X so if I write x equal to x1, x2, so on, x is summation of xi ei I equal to 1 to infinity. So this is what we saw for any LP space. This is true for p less than infinity. So Ox can be written as summation xi ei So if x is in L2, then x can be written as this. So therefore, this summation xi ei, this series converges if and only if summation mod xi square, this is finite, right? Because summation mod xi square finite means that this x is in L2, and then we know that this will converge to x1, x2, and so on. So that belongs to L2. So this converges. Let me write in L2. This is equivalent to that this sequence x1, x2, O dot dot. This belongs to OL2 space. So if we look at suppose x psi equal to 1 by I, so therefore every rearrangement of the series summation En by n this converges in L2. In fact, we know this converges to the sequence 1/2, 1/3, and so on, belonging to L2. Right, because the convergence is equivalent to the summation of 1 by n squared being finite, and we know that that is finite. So therefore, if I take any rearrangement of this, so that will converge. To this limit. But is this series absolutely convergent? This is not absolutely convergent. Yes. Summation of, if I take norm of this n by n equal to 1 to infinity, this is summation of 1 by n, which is equal to infinity. Right. So this gives an example where you have a series which is not absolutely convergent, but every rearrangement of the series converges to the same limit. So therefore, this is not true, that every rearrangement of the series converging to the same limit, that does not imply that the series is absolutely convergent. So this is different from what we see for real numbers or complex number series. Okay, so I'll stop here. In the next class, I'll start with linear functional and the famous Hahn-Banach theorem. So I'll state what is Hahn-Banach theorem and then give the proof of that. And if there is time, then we'll see some applications of that Hahn-Banach theorem also. Any question?